Welcome back, Shalligators. Well, I know, Demi, she's back. She's back, or should I say they is back? I should say they is back, but I'm not going to because it's confusing and no. Demi has come out as, non-binary, like gender fluid, and is now going by they and them pronouns. And so we're gonna talk about how to stop craving attention and validation. This is something, whether we want to accept it or not, that we all struggle with. And there's no shame in saying, yeah, I want to be liked. I want to be validated. I want to be popular. This is part of our makeup as humans, our social inclusion needs. We know this. It's okay. But to say it out loud or admit that we have a problem with it feels like the most cringy thing in the world. It's like, I need everyone to like me. But that doesn't mean it's not happening just because we're not calling it out. So I'm going to give you some scientific, actionable ways to stop constantly needing everyone to love you, see you, agree with you, and also how this relates to our shadow self. What do we do if we feel like there's a version of ourselves that people are not seeing and paying attention to? I actually dealt with one of you guys one-on-one with this topic literally today. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad you asked me this question because this is so true. So now I get to share with you guys. Don't worry, we're not going to spill the beans on her issues. We keep everything private. And we are going to talk about the real reason Demi is doing this. Because guess what? It's not a good one, as per usual. But before we get started, just a reminder to shop my cozy new quilt collaboration, Cozy Quilt Collab. I partnered with James Lauren Beauty, a mom-daughter duo, to come up with a really beautiful custom quilt that's heavy like a weighted blanket, fluffy like a duvet. You can shop right down there in the link, and you can get it customized and embroidered with up to 10 characters. So you can get revenge, you can get XO, and if you would like to connect with me one-on-one, head over to my website, shallonlester.com, and click submit a question. You want an Instagram review, make sure your IG is sending out the right message. Because you know what happens when our IG doesn't send a good message? We reject people on Tinder. I did that recently, and the guy lost his mind. So because he decided to be beta and insulting and derisive, I decided to flame him out on my Instagram. So head on over to shallonxo, because you know what, dude? You want to be insulting and rude, maybe be cognizant of the fact that the girl you're doing it to scorches people on the internet for a living. You are not special. Neither is Demi Lovato. But you know what? She's trying to be, because she's reinventing her identity and her pronouns. Now look, I've gone on my pronoun rant before. Pronouns, I, as a grammar expert, I am a 2-time Random House published author and a former editor of national magazines, not just one, but a few. I know grammar, and I know the point of grammar, and I know the point of pronouns. It's to make a sentence easier. Instead of saying, Shallon left, and Shallon's coming back, and Shallon's bringing a blanket, and Shallon's going to cook dinner. It's Shallon left, she's coming back. It's supposed to ease with the fluidity, since we're using that word, of speech. And so when people are like, my pronoun is like, no, I'm sorry, no. You can call yourself whatever you want, and if the people in your life are accepting of you using different pronouns, great. I don't think it's fair that you ask the entire rest of the world to bend around it, because it's confusing. I'm reading this article about Demi, and it's like they decided to do this, and I'm like, wait, who? I'm thinking it's plurality, because that's what they many times means. So she has decided to, once again, define herself by her genitals, because she has nothing else except for her pain, her pity, her drug addictions, blah, blah, blah. Nothing positive. Not everything positive. And my fan account, Shalligator143, was like, are her pronouns going to be frozen and yogurt? Because they should be. Because yeah, last time we talked about Demi, she was trying to shred a small business, a frozen yogurt shop on the internet. And I shredded her right back. Her apology was absolute horseshit. It was deflective. She took no responsibility for herself. She didn't even seem particularly sorry. But this is par for the course with Demi. I mean, she has a song called Sorry, Not Sorry. And holy shit, put that on her tombstone, because she means it. I love the authenticity. She means it. We watched and broke down every episode of her agonizing documentary here on YouTube, where she explained her drug addiction and her overdose, but tempered every modicum, every morsel of realization with blaming someone else. I had to go do drugs because my management team told me I couldn't. You mean your boss told you how to show up to work sober? Yeah, that's weirdly how it goes. Did you see Misha Barton came out with a story I left the OC because I was being bullied? Honey, It's not bullying when they're like, you need to show up to work sober. That's not a, it's not a bully. Oh God, people bandwagoning onto issues and using these little keywords, hashtag bullied, hashtag fluid, to get out of their own bullshit, basically. I asked you guys on my Instagram, what's the topic here with Demi and these fucking pronouns, right? And what do you guys just summed it up so well? She's like, she's using gender identity as a way to get around just plain old being a bad person, to sort of like recoup her terrible PR from this like frozen yogurt forest fire, right? And get people back on her side. Do you know how much respect I have for someone like that? Zero. So if you're like, you're not respecting her pronouns, I don't respect her at all. I mean, pronouns are the tip of the iceberg. How much more time you got? I could list a whole bunch of things I don't respect about this person, about this professional victim, about this person who has every opportunity that any drug addict, alcoholic, anorexic, rape victim could ever want. And she spits in the face of all of it and makes them the bad guy and puts the onus on everyone else to keep her sober and thin and sane and blah. No, I don't have a lot of respect for that. The gender thing, bro, that's like 21st in line. So I'm not going to be calling her they and them in this video. Sorry. You mad about it? Tough shit. Because remember what I just said? People are using these buzzwords to get out of like their own like shitty quagmires that they've self-created that they won't take any responsibility for. And of course they don't want to do actual work on themselves. No. That seems like hard and like tiring. No, I know. I want people to stop talking negatively about me. I know what to do. I could say I don't have a vagina anymore. Right? I could say that I'm gender neutral because then if anyone says anything bad about me, they're transphobic. They're non-binary phobic. I don't even know what the term is. So this is going to give me entree into this group of people who are going to protect me. Fuck you. Demi is standing on the shoulders of giants. She talks about culture vultures. She culture vultures people's actual pain, people's actual journey of, I grew up in a small town in Texas and I was gay, I was trans, I was whatever. And I really went through it. I didn't have 3 different therapists who traveled with me wherever I went. I didn't have even a personal trainer or a nutritionist to make sure at the very least, my body was running the way it should. I didn't have millions of fans standing up for me and listening. I was on my own. And this woman wants those soldiers out on the front line of this issue to stand up and defend her? I don't think so. I have very little respect for someone like Demi who swoops in at like mile 26 of this marathon, like 25.1, and is like, I'm here too now. Do you guys, I'm here too. I'm not saying it's inauthentic. Maybe she is non-binary. I truly don't understand what that means. And I'm not being insulting. I don't know what it means. Like, I don't know what feelings you have that make you feel like that. I'm truly not, I'm literally asking the question, like, if you consider yourself non-binary, like, what is it, like experiences that you don't like, that like don't resonate with you? Is it like you're asexual, like you're not attracted to anybody? Is it, I don't know. I'm very curious. But you know what? I don't think Demi knows either. I don't think she knows either. I do think she's well aware of the social clout this will try to get her, right? The wonderful PR rehab. She's in the news. Everyone's respecting her pronouns. Respect is earned. I care how you move through the world. Are you respectful to others? Respect is a two-way street, right? You want it, you got to give it. I don't see a ton of respect coming out of Demi. When we watched her documentary and broke it down, we talked about this before. Did you see one iota of like shame from her? So Demi doesn't seem to have a ton of respect for the world around her. So no, I don't have a ton of respect for you. And I have even less respect for someone who tries to manipulate respect out of the world through an issue that other people are actually struggling with. It's like if I said, well, I am Palestinian. No, I am. So if you say anything bad about me, you're going against a Palestinian. I would never say that because it's deranged and insane, right? But people do that. Perhaps that's an extreme example. They do it all the time. You're just saying that to me because I'm an XYZ. And that's not appropriate. I don't have a lot of respect for those people. So Demi made a statement in just a very, where did she get this shirt? It's like from the Miami Vice garage sale of crap. Okay. I've spent the majority of my life growing in front of all of you. You grow up, you don't grow down, babe. I don't know that you're growing up. You've seen the good, the bad, and everything in between, including these commas that don't make any sense, but that's fine. I digress. So she said in this little video, I feel like this best represents the fluidity I feel in my gender expression and allows me to feel most authentic and true to the person I both know I am and still am discovering. She said this came after a lot of healing and self-reflective work. Well, she's a narcissist, so of course she loves to just reflect and navel gaze in this like endless loop. I'm learning and coming into myself, and I don't claim to be an expert or a spokesperson. Really? Well, you don't when you have to actually take on some responsibility, right? Well, then no, I'm not just like this spokesperson, but then when you want attention, you're like, hey, everyone, I'm standing up for the little girls who go into a frozen yogurt shop and feel like harassed by the existence of frozen yogurt and sugar-free cookies. What? You can't have it both ways. You don't get power with no responsibility. Sharing this with you now opens another level of vulnerability to me. I call that manipulation, but okay. I'm doing this for those out there that haven't been able to share who they truly were with their loved ones. How does this help those people? Please keep living in your truths. Is that grammar right? And know I am sending so much love your way. On one hand, it is true that celebrities, when they like come out on a risky limb and say, hey, this is something I've gone through, it does make us feel less alone, especially if it's a thing that we are prone to feeling alone about, you know? Like I've said this before, like celebrities talking about miscarriages. But at some point a tipping point occurs. And we talked about this in the comments on the Chrissy Teigen video. Someone was like, we have to talk about those miscarriage photos that she posted where she was like crying on the bed. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot about those. And one of my friends and we were on like texting back and forth, and she had actually recently suffered a miscarriage. And she's like, I cannot imagine handing my camera to someone. I mean, like, can you get this? Wait, no, hold on. Let me look. Okay, another one. And there wasn't one photo, there were many. And I'm like, that's very true and very strange. What starts out maybe with a wonderful intention of like being vulnerable and connecting with people and feeling less alone herself, you know, takes a toxic turn when it is candy coated in narcissism. And this is why narcissists fuck us up, because we can see the kernel of like rightness, you know, it's like, well, it's not totally off base to do something like that. It's not totally deranged and insane, but it's just, it's like we can't quite put our finger on it. And we feel like if we say it, fuck you, shame on you, you're a phobic this and you're an anti this. That's exactly what those people want. They want to be insulated from any sort of feedback, negativity, or even just outright transparency that other people are trying to hold them to. It's like, that's weird to post that. This is strange to say that you coming out is helping a million other people. Like, is it? What are you doing? Are you going on a book tour? Are you going around to teen shelters for LGBT kids? Are you writing any checks? What are you doing? What are you doing here? What are you doing? It's like she's always got such a boner for her eating disorder. What has she done to help anyone with an eating disorder? I mean, honestly. She's standing on the shoulders of giants. Like I said, it's just, and it gets real old. It gets real old because actual people out there are suffering and do need help. And this bitch isn't going to be the one. She's not the one. And this brings me to our larger topic today. Helping ourselves. Helping ourselves to break free of the constant spiral, the endless loop of validation, right? Because that's what's going on with Demi. She cannot just sit in being some sort of bad guy, right? She had to come out with that stupid documentary, several stupid documentaries where, you guys always say that there's this cycle of OD documentary. She does some catastrophic thing and then does a documentary about how much she learns. And then she repeats the exact same behavior, does another documentary. It's like, okay, well, no, everything in that documentary, that was a lie. Let me tell you what I've actually learned. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And after this frozen yogurt fiasco, her Q score is underwater. Q score is like a measure of popularity. You can actually quantify popularity in people. I think The Rock or Santa Claus has the highest Q score in the world or something like that. So she had to come out and do this. How can we not be Demi? How can we avoid this? Well, we talk about social inclusion a lot. We talk about our caveman self, our prefrontal lobe, how it guides us, our little reptilian brain, and what it guides us towards is social inclusion. Historically, we need a tribe. You're not going to survive the winter. Now that we've evolved, we still want a tribe. We want love. We want popularity. We want clout. The fact that that word is so popular to me is fascinating because it's so incisive to truly what we do want as humans. We want power. Same with the word influencer. I mean, yeah, that just cuts right to it. She influences others. Her life matters. Her social inclusion is cemented. It's so much deeper than just these arbitrary terms. I find it really interesting. I'm an etymology nerd. So how can we validate ourselves instead of constantly getting it from the world? And we call this the cold-blooded animal versus the warm-blooded animal, if you're new here. So a cold-blooded animal, if you think about a snake, they can't regulate their own body temperature. They got to rely on the outside to stay alive. A warm-blooded animal, an eagle, a lion, a shallon, a ewe, it comes from inside. Yeah, we like to be warm. Ooh, big fluffy jacket, fireplace. But we got it going on in here. Our self-esteem is the exact same way. People who are cold-blooded, they're living for likes. They're living for that validation. Every day they've got a new issue, a new label, a new hashtag, a new pronoun, a new whatever, right? Not everybody, but these things correlate. They correlate pretty strongly. Those are cold-blooded animals. How do we switch cold blood into warm? Okay, I'm gonna tell you. Let go of the idea that everyone has to see you. Remember at the beginning, I said I was talking to one of you guys. You submitted a question to me and she's like, I'm trying to get the world to see my shadow self. Now, shadow self is the side of ourselves that we either can't or don't feel comfortable amplifying, or we're trying to amplify and nobody is listening. We talk about it all the time. We talk about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. She honed in on his shadow self. You're the special one. You're the one who's going to change the world, not William. You're the one who's really making a difference. He's like, because he was always treated like the spare, the heir and the spare. And she came in and she honed in on that shadow self and took him by the throat. He's toast, right? Because when someone sees us as we want to be seen, not as who we actually are, because that's different. If someone's like, you are actually really awful. You're super awful. You are a failure. You're selfish and sad. Well, okay. Those are not the people we're magnetized towards. It's people who see us the way we hope the world sees us. That's an important distinction. They can come in and just manipulate the heck out of us. And so the Shalligator was like, her shadow self is being athletic. She's like, I was captain of the tennis team. I did volleyball. She's like, I was super athletic in high school and no one believes me. They literally don't believe me. And she's like, I know I'm smart. So if someone calls me stupid, I don't even think about it. Okay. If someone calls me unathletic, I'll think about it for a week. It hurts me to the core. And I don't know how to get people to see me the way, I am. So I'll tell you what I told her. It's okay if people don't see us. The world is always going to kind of try to put us in boxes. It's an easy categorization system. We love any sort of organization. I'm in one box to one person, another box to someone else. Sad, lonely spinster. Okay. Stupid, bitchy YouTuber. All right. Inappropriate. Cancel her. Whatever. That's fine. I accept that most people are not going to see me for the multitudes that I am. People might not take a look at you or even get to know you and see absolutely every layer, every dimension, every version of yourself, every capability. And that's a good thing. Hear me out. That's a good thing. You know how I just said, like, if people see us for who we actually are and they're like, you're this, you're that, you're that. I mean, we would be just like shattered into 1,000 pieces, right? These versions of ourselves serve as insulation in many ways. There's nothing so, what's the word? Like, I don't know, like underbelly pokey? It's like, oh. A poke to your soft underbelly is when someone just cuts to the meat of you. Well, the reason you watch Sleeping Beauty is because you were raised by your grandparents and you felt abandoned. It's like, well, thank you for ruining Sleeping Beauty for me. We feel embarrassed. We feel like the whole world was probably like seeing this and laughing at us and laughing at the version of ourselves we were trying to present. Do you know what I mean? So it's okay that people don't know every bit of you. If for no other reason, it's boring. I like to surprise people. I like for people to be like, you were in ROTC? I didn't know that. I never would have guessed that. Now, I could interpret that as an insult. I mean, look at me. Of course you wouldn't guess. I almost joined the army. But I don't take it as an insult. I take it as, I still got it. Still got a card up my sleeve, right? There's still some mystery to me. And when there's mystery, there's intrigue. And when there's intrigue, there's magnetism. And when there is magnetism, there is power. And when there is power, there is what? Clout, influence, social inclusion. So you're looking at this the wrong way. You're thinking, people need to know me to accept me, and then I'm going to have power in this world. No, it's the opposite. If people don't fully know you, you actually, logistically, you have way more power, way more. When we look at celebrities who are the most fascinating, let's look at Angelina Jolie. You know why we're fascinated by her? Because she's incongruous. She's like building an orphanage in Cambodia or something, and then she's fucking in a limo with blood around her neck, and then she's adopting 6 kids, and then she's in a gown, and we're like, who is she? She keeps you guessing. She keeps you stimulated. She keeps you engaged. She keeps you hunting. Right? Men are hunters, and women, we're actually not that far behind. We like a little puzzle to solve. We might not hunt and chase the way men do, but we fix, we solve, we diagnose. And so both of those things lead to the same place. Allure. What's going on there? Intrigue. Mystery. So it's okay if people don't fully know you and if they don't see or accept your shadow self. You got to see it. How do you see it? Well, do it. What I told the Shalligator, because she's like, I've been slacking on sports and stuff lately. I was like, well, get your ass back out there. Because nothing is going to validate you and your second self like doing the thing that embodies it, right? Megan probably told Harry, we'll start a charity. We'll go out there and you work with wounded veterans, whatever it is. If your shadow self is being mean, stand up for yourself. If it's being nice, go volunteer at an animal shelter. Go do literal, actionable things that let you know and reaffirm to yourself, I'm that bitch. I know I'm that bitch. Because then, like this gator said, she's like, if people call me dumb, I don't care. Because she does things that reaffirm her intelligence, right? She's growing, she's learning, she's reading books, she's engaging in conversation, she knows about politics. So she has empirical evidence at the ready when someone's like, you're dumb. She's like, okay, right? And so therefore you become bulletproof to this. And in a way, you operate outside of the pressures of social inclusion. You are your own tribe now. You are looking for people who not see you. They have to see me. They have to notice me. No. They just have to agree. They just have to kind of vaguely agree because you know. I want my friends to know that I'm smart, but I don't need them to tell me that I'm smart. I know that I'm smart. And I want them to be like, oh yeah, she's smart. Great, that's fine. But if they don't, they're like, Shallon's kind of dumb. I'm like, okay. I don't want to be friends with you now because I don't believe you're that intelligent. But it's like, sucks to suck, man. Sounds like a you problem. I know it. So there's some other actionable things that we can do to stop craving validation from the outside and turn into that warm-blooded animal. Self-affirmations, right? Self-validation can come through something as easily as naming your feelings. One thing I've learned to do, because I have a lot of anxiety around eating, because I could eat forever. Like how I feel about food, I should be morbidly obese. Food is my drug. And I reach for food or alcohol or anything to put in my mouth. I have this weird fixation. I don't think I was breastfed long enough. I think it goes back to that's very weird. One thing that helps me is to say the feeling I'm feeling out loud, or at the very least to myself. Anxious, socially anxious, tired, bored, I want to leave. I don't like this conversation. It's stupid. Bored. I've learned to say it inside my own mind and not out loud. But when I can say that, I'm like, oh, okay, that's how I feel. Okay. I don't need that canapé. I don't need that glass of champagne. I know that I'm bored. And that means I should just leave. I'm tired. I don't want to talk to this person. Okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm not going to talk to him again. Okay. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. And if you're not identifying what these feelings are, you're never going to find a solution. Would you go to a doctor and you'd be like, oh no, I know how to fix this. And you're like, I haven't told you what's wrong. It's like, it doesn't matter. I know how to fix it. That's fine. No, you need to know the front and the back. So identify what these triggers are, what makes you feel anxious, when you need to check to see how many likes you got on Instagram, what's happening. Stop and be aware. Monsters live in the dark. We got to walk in the light. So shine a light on the circumstances, the people, the phrases, maybe the self-denial. It's like, why am I here at this bar? I don't like bars. I don't want to be here. I'd rather be at home in my feety pajamas watching James Bond movies. But now I'm not, and I'm anxious as fuck. And I swear to God, if guys don't come up and talk to me, I'm going to leave so fucking mad. This is so stupid. Why are they looking at Rachel and not me? Does that sound familiar? That's how I used to be at bars. I mean, and then I'd be like, just this ghastly little toad sitting on a corner stool, wondering, so confused about why guys weren't talking to me. Okay? Like, the validation started so much deeper than some douche at a bar coming over and be like, hey. Right? It wasn't even that I wanted those people. I needed them to want me. It was a whole thing. So if you're dealing with validation that you need online, though, this is a whole separate thing. Well, it isn't because we we need the social inclusion and we want quantifications. We want to see, okay, certain number of likes mean I'm popular. That little blue check mark means like I've earned my place in society. I will not pretend that me being verified on Instagram does not make me feel like cock of the walk. I am cock of nothing. But it does give me a little twist in my tail. And, it kicks up those social media validation things into the social inclusion needs. And I'm like, okay, but we're going to dial it down. When I find myself defaulting to that, well, fuck that guy. Who cares? I'm verified on Insta. What circumstance am I in? Am I on a bad date with someone I probably shouldn't have gone out with anyway? Am I letting him talk to me like I'm trash? Am I sticking around here to the fact that I've got to default to this thing? Be like, well, I'm this. This is good to identify. If you find yourself just overall relying too much on social media, go cold turkey. You got to treat it like a drug. Don't treat it like Demi Lovato treats literal drugs. I can do some of that. I'm California sober. Well, we call that Montana drunk, okay? Try that. California sober is the other 49 states drug addict. You want to phrase it like that? I'm a Texas junkie. I'm California sober, but I'm like an Idaho burnout. Try it, boo. But she feels like she can dabble in the arts of drugs. No, go cold turkey, shut down your social media for a week. There will be a certain struggle and a certain relief, like a withdrawal. I did it one time. I was like going someplace where my phone wouldn't work. And I was getting like the Instagram sweats, like on the plane. I'm like, I can't check. But then it's like, once that fever broke, I was like, oh my God, I'm freed from this. Because there's a study that a scientist did recently. It was kind of a small sample size. It was a few hundred people. But they were correlating like validation in social media. People who like live for the likes. And they call that high level of effort. So people who ask, go and like my photo. They even buy likes, right? They ask for follow back, like back. High levels of effort is associated with low levels of agreeableness. You're just shitty to be around. Low levels of trust, warmth, modesty, conscientiousness, high levels of being unimaginative, careless, impulsive, disorganized. Basically every word you can come up with for a scattered loser, just a mess, right? People who presented themselves as they deemed honestly online, like they don't self-aggrandize, they don't really care about likes. Well, actually, I shouldn't say don't self-aggrandize, but they present themselves positively online or honestly. They don't talk negatively about myself. So I'm alone again. None of that shit. You know, they're positive, they're optimistic. Correlates to higher self-esteem and extroversion. But you know what stood out? Is the overall findings of this study. None of the personality or self-esteem measures was related to feeling good. That refers to receiving likes and validation online do not make you feel good about yourself or make you feel better when you're sad. What? Well, no. Getting all those retweets, that made me feel good. Did it? For how long? How surface or how deep did that validation go? Did you move through the rest of your day truly feeling proud of yourself, good about yourself? Or was it kind of like candy? Here and gone. In one ear, out the other. I do this for a living. And when I read the good comments, they're like cotton candy. You know, they evaporate. They're sweet, but they're here for a good time, not a long time. The bad comments, I will think about them for a long time. That's human nature. We fixate on the bad. It takes 1,000, that's a girl, to make up for one, you're not good enough. I'm saying this because what this study found is that feeling good about yourself and validation, it doesn't actually come from the outside. We can say that it does. We can act like it does. We can hope that it does, but it doesn't. Therefore, where could you think it comes from? Inside. It comes from inside. It comes from gratitude. What did they say? Positivity, honesty. Because people who are presenting themselves, and this is just the example, honestly and positively online, if people react negatively, that's like, well, fuck, this is me, man. This is me. I feel good about myself. I'm that warm-blooded animal. I see my own shadow self. I don't need you to see it. You didn't understand that I can be like Army ROTC and I can come home and bake cookies and fuck my man and get dressed up. That sounds like a you problem. That sounds like your lack of dimensionality being projected onto me, not mine. It all starts in here. That's the gift and the curse. We got to work on ourselves. We have to be our own biggest approver, our own champion, our own fan. When we are in love with our own lives and working on ourselves, if we're not in our own lives, work on it, fucking fix it. It's your life, dude. Who do you think's going to come in and fix your life? Santa? We talked about Santa. He's very popular, but he's not here to fix your life. We got to do it. I want to know what you guys have to say about Demi. We're going to do a video tomorrow on Rihanna. You guys are like 50-50 split on my Instagram poll of like, the Rihanna and ASAP thing, his interview, finally confirmed they're dating, calls her the love of his life. So I think I'm going to do 2 videos. How to know if you found the one, and how to know if a fuckboy's changed. Very, very good questions. Like I said, join me on Insta at shallonxo to watch me shred a douchebag. I'll see you later, Shallon.